Hello, everybody. It's Monday. It's morning.
And it's Macabre.
Welcome, everybody, to Monday Morning Macabre.
It's your hosts, Darce, Scones.
It's me, Scones.
Scones and Darce, the boys, are back.
The Macabre Boys.
Back to episode 8.
I know. So I read, actually, this week that most, a large amount of podcasts only make it to episode 7, so...
So we're officially number 1 on the charts.
I'm not saying we're heroes, but...
Yeah, but we should be honored.
We've been through enough struggles that most people go through.
Statues are going to be erected in our honor.
Easily.
Easy money. Today, Scones is going to be presenting me.
I'm the Macabrista.
He's the Macabrista, cooking up a fresh brew for old Darcy Pants.
It's pretty fresh.
It's hot, fresh, kicking, macabre.
It is. Darce, how you doing lately?
I'm doing good. My shower is destroyed, and
Nice.
It's going to have to be redone, and that might cost me upwards of many thousands of dollars.
What did you do in the shower that caused this?
I just stood.
Do you poop in the shower?
No, I did not poop in the shower, surprisingly. I actually stood in the shower, and just a person being, there was a problem with the shower. It's leaking into our basement, and we just had the basement redone. So life is living hell, and I have to put on a happy face for the listener.
Nothing more macabre than real life issues
Yeah,
of a homeowner.
Let's just get into the real.
That's actually what was my whole story, was your shower issue.
Yep. So I'm going to talk to you about my tax returns this year. We're going to get into that.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into Decision 2020. No, we're not going to do that. Today we're actually, instead,
I'm excited to hear what this topic is.
going to be talking about the legend and the history of Turnbull Canyon.
Turnbull Canyon.
Have you ever heard of Turnbull Canyon?
I have no idea. I'm actually so excited because
I hadn't either till I read about it, and it's fucking wild.
I'm so I usually have some idea of what we're talking about, but I have no idea what Turnbull Canyon is.
This thing's a full birthday cake.
This is the full birthday cake of Nope, yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
It's got the cake, it's got the frosting, it's got the ice cream, it's got the candles, and it's one of those areas. I feel like every state, region, area, province, wherever you're from, has this one place that's just this magnet for either crazy stuff happening or legends being told about it, and lore just
every region has its own unique Bermuda Triangle within it.
Exactly. That's a great way of putting it. All right, let's get into it. The legend of Turnbull Canyon. All right, so Turnbull Canyon is in
Canyon.
It's in that California. So it's in Whittier, California.
Okay, so this is a Californian Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah,
so it's probably on fire.
It's actually public lands. It's part of Puente Hills Preserve.
Okay.
It's filled with a huge amount of horror throughout its entire history. It's currently, during the day, a popular spot for hikers and fitness trail runners.
Okay, and during the night, it's a vigilante justice-seeking superhero.
It actually, it made note in some of my sources that none of these real hikers or fitness trail runners, are locals. None of them grew up there. They're all kind of just preserve, I can run there. Whereas all the locals are like, no fucking thanks.
Oh, so the locals know. They know what's up, and all the runners are like, oh, all right.
So originally, if we go way back, pre-colonial era, that's where we'll start.
Okay, way back.
Yep. So the Native Americans that lived in the area, it was off limits. This area,
dude, that's always the start of these places. It's always the Native Americans knew
birthday cake.
And some dumb white dudes roll in and they're like, hey, we're gonna build a Holiday Inn, baby.
They called it Hutinga.
Okay.
Well, that's a hell of a word. Hutkngna. Hutinga.
Sure.
Which supposedly means the dark place.
I love it.
It's believed to be an area possessed by evil spirits.
Okay. Of what? Just
whatever
generic...
those Native Americans believed were evil.
Cool.
Their standard for evil spirits was very prominent in this area.
All right.
So a lot of Native Americans did not go there or just completely avoided it, even if it had, hunting grounds or good land or whatever.
It was a quarantine zone, if you will.
So eventually, like so many other Native Americans, shit went sideways when the old whites show up.
Is that what we're calling
The Europeans.
Okay.
The Europeans show up. They decide to start calling the American Indians their Gabrielinos.
Sure. Yep.
The Europeans decided to set up like a mission there that was for St. Gabriel.
Oh, okay.
And so they were just, even though the Native Americans did not.
Yeah, they're like, hey, no, we're
not Christian. They were like, no, you're Gabrielinos, which is something of Gabriel.
Right.
And so essentially the Spanish settlers were starting like really pushing Catholicism on the Native Americans as European immigrants.
As is tradition, yep.
And also, like they do, they started to kill anyone that would not conform, not become Catholic. And guess where they killed them?
In the
Turnbull Canyon. Exactly.
Dude, you didn't even have to help. That was awesome. I'm locked in, baby.
A lot of them thought that making the Indians face their fears would make them like turn to Catholicism. Like basically, if you're a Catholic priest, you lead these Native Americans who believe this area is evil and nothing bad happens to you. Maybe the Native Americans are like, this dude, like nothing will touch this priest, dude. Like,
okay, so it's like a trial by fire type deal. Where
kind
like,
of,
I get what you're saying.
And instead, the opposite was true. The Indians did not convert. A lot of them just gave up and were like, just kill me, dude. I'd rather that than hang out in Turnbull Canyon.
That's how you know it's a legit, like, if they're choosing death over just going through this place, maybe they're onto something.
Yeah, and there's like a unassigned quote that says, now we are without hope. Now we remain for as long as the sun rises and sets in the sky. And this was said by a shaman, and he said it to one of the Spanish soldiers, and he was later killed that day.
Jesus. That's spooky. I don't like that.
And in the 19th century, the Spanish officially take over and establish a governor. So this is like real colonialism kind of sets in. And basically he gives all the land in Whittier to these two bad boys, John Rowland and William Workman.
John Rowland and William Workman, the bad boys of Whittier. And
so William Workman's the guy you really got to remember because he's pretty much the guy who... John Rowland kind of seems to fall by the wayside, but William Workman, we'll get to him. So these two clowns come from Taos, New Mexico, and they ran a successful fur trapping business.
Okay.
And now the piece of land that these two jamokes got from the governor is 49,000 acres.
And you know what's that they got that 49,000 acres for like $5. Like
it's just like pennies on the dollar. So stop me if you heard this one before, but the Indians that lived there were not.
They weren't too keen on it.
No, they weren't advised or given any kind of word. The Gabrielinos, which I guess is what we'll call them, even though that's probably not the name they chose themselves. They still lived in the area, and they obviously do not like these dudes.
Yeah.
Instead, they actually would stage a lot of raids to their properties and steal fur and like try to sabotage them.
Yeah, this is very familiar, a pattern that we see a lot throughout history.
And as a result, William Workman, one of the two dudes, he builds an underground living space under his house. So like when he sees like the Gabrielinos coming, he's like, everybody in the basement. There's like tunnels that go to all the different parts of the property. And, like, it's a whole underground bunker, pretty much.
Ooh, okay. So, he makes, like, a bomb shelter, but to avoid the native people.
Yeah, and so through that, he pretty much, like, is able to kind of protect him and his company and money and family from any kind of raids. Eventually, the things smooth over, and a lot of the American Indians end up actually becoming employed by him. They kind of like are like, whatever, this isn't going away. We'll just get jobs and like get money and become fur trappers. A lot of them end up working in the subterranean tunnels, moving fur and stuff.
Ooh, I don't like where this is going, dude.
And so a number of them end up quitting or confirm seeing spirits in the tunnels.
Okay.
And two of them actually confirmed seeing a witch running away from them in the tunnel down a hallway that they later found out led to the family burial ground.
Dude, spooky tunnel. .org.
Just a witch down there just tunneling.
Just a witch is just like, hey, this is my...
She's just tunneling, dude.
She's like, I lost something. I gotta dig it all up.
I left my keys back there. William Workman gets a little too ambitious. He kind of ignores all this spookiness, and he gets ambitious. He tries to usurp the Spanish governor.
Ooh.
He's like,
big moves.
I'm the captain now. He ends up failing, and as a result, loses most of his property.
Okay, that's not that. I mean, I would have thought he would have been like killed for trying to.
This whole thing goes south because basically he loses most of his money. He then goes and tries to start a banking enterprise, but that fails pretty fast because he's completely out of money.
Yeah, he goes to try and start a mid-level marketing scheme where he sells energy drinks to the natives.
Exactly, and no one in his freshman dorm will buy them.
Yeah, okay.
He ends up shooting himself in 1876.
Wow, that went from light to dark real quick.
Macabre.
Okay.
That's what we do here on Monday Morning Macabre. We go dark, light, dark, light, dark.
Yeah, as long as it ends on dark.
All right, so that's the tale of William Workman.
That's William Workman.
That's where his story ends.
So that's the start. That's the first example of some bad juju going on in the area.
Definite bad. Well, the first would be the Native Americans who were very aware of it. Like, no, that's not it. We're not going there.
Okay, sure.
Jump up to the Great Depression.
Hey.
In times of Great Depression, people do crazy stuff.
You don't say.
Yes, and so rituals begin to happen in the area. It becomes home to a cult.
Nice. What's the cult name?
It does not say.
All right, I'm going to call them the Young Boys.
The Young Boys are convinced that the black magic was the answer to the Great Depression, that it would give them money and riches and happiness beyond their wildest dreams.
That's the first time I've heard a cult like where their logic. I'm like, honestly, I could see that. Where you're just like, I don't know, black magic at this point.
Has anyone proved it doesn't work? Like,
yeah, I tried the real estate market, did not work out.
Here's where you're not going to understand their point of view. They started to sacrifice kids.
You know what we were just talking about? How it goes from light to dark?
light, dark. So they would kidnap kids and sacrifice, and they'd also kidnap babies and sell them.
They kidnapped babies and sold them?
Like, people would buy babies from them because
what?
Cultists need food too.
Hashtag get it trending, guys. If we can get if we can start blasting that out on your social medias, that would really help the cause.
So for this cult, I have a specific story.
All right.
So like I said, it's a very prominent like area for hiking and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people like travel or whatever all over the West Coast. So this is stories from backpackerverse.com.
Ooh.
So thanks, Backpackerverse.
Hey, thanks, backpackerverse.com.
So here we go. A large group of men and women with no children, wearing black robes, were enacting strange rituals each night in Turnbull Canyon. They were numerous and organized, and their business was horrifying. One witness actually said, carefully sneaking up on the camp, that he was able to take a close look at one of their rites, and he made it out to tell the tale. A young boy, he was 12 years old. He was strapped to a cross in the center of a circle of people. Entranced and paralyzed with fear, the Puente Hills resident watched as the robed figures danced around and round, chanting in a language he could not recognize, but sent a chill down his spine. After a time, the chanting suddenly increased in intensity. The cross was hoisted upright, the child struggling but unable to cry out through the rough cloth that had been stuffed in his mouth. Pulling the cross back, and then hoisting it the other way, the townsmen finally realized what was happening. They were putting up an upside-down cross.
Ooh.
The cultists just kept struck the boy again and again with blood flying out in every direction.
Jesus Christ.
Eventually, their fury subsided, and so did the blows. Peering close, the Puente Hills resident breathed a sigh of relief to see the boy was still breathing. But what happened next, he could never forget. They took him away. They simply removed the boy, stuffing him into a large sack, and tossed it roughly into a wagon. The man returned to town to tell the tale. Wow, that's a hell of a sentence. The man returned to town to tell the tale.
Rap God.
But he was not believed until some months later when a rash of kidnappings and disappearances struck the area. By the time the townspeople gathered their wagons and rode out to Turnbull Canyon to put a stop to the horror, the cult had scattered. They were gone. And as for that boy, he was never seen again. So that cult was pretty fucking scary.
Yeah,
in fact, many people, this person actually like interviewed people who live there today, and they say that satanic or demonic worship still often happens there.
Back in the Great Depression, that's like era of where a cult could do culty things. You know, it's you don't have modern technologies and like cell phones and stuff that you could just go into the woods.
Like I wasn't taking a video of it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't hear like World Star from the bushes. And they could actually get away with their wrongdoings.
And there's actually recently been a sign spray painted at the canyon that says "Die Jesus," which I mean he's already dead. Like,
yeah, that's a sick burn. Whatever 14-year-old did that.
A lot of witnesses claim to see the ghosts of children, and the figures of people swinging from their necks high in the limbs of scragglier trees. Although none of these have been confirmed with photo evidence.
Okay.
Like when you get to close to the tree, you're like, oh, it's gone. But far from the distance, you're like,
classic. It's like the girl walks into the road while you're driving and you like, skid off the road in the horror movie.
Yeah. So World War II happens. It doesn't seem like much is going on. Jump to the 1950s.
Okay. I would have assumed that.
There's literally, I can't find anything on the 40s.
Interesting. 40s were a chill time for Turnbull Canyon.
Well, and not the rest of the world.
Turnbull's like, okay, everyone else, you guys got
Yeah.
this. You guys got this decade. We'll come back in the 50s. Don't you worry.
So in 1952, there's a plane crash. This 2-engine prop plane from American Airlines just falls out of the sky and hits one of the tallest hills in the canyon and kills everybody on board.
I do not like planes.
Yeah, it's not that uncommon for a plane to crash back then. But what's crazy about this is there's no American airline flights scheduled for then.
Ooh, that's
There was
spooky.
also not supposed to be an American Airlines flight in the area at all.
So this is just a rogue plane that just rolled into the canyon and exploded.
Yep. There's actually no identifying number on the craft either, nor was American Airlines missing any planes from its fleet. In addition to the aircraft not having any ID, none of the 29 victims on board had any ID either.
What? Wait, and this was a legitimate crash site. People went to this crash site and investigated it.
Well, we'll get there. Sadly, the 29 people on board, 21 of them were children.
What?
Which is an unusual ratio.
What? Yeah, why are you... what?
Well, there's a cult that kidnaps kids in the area.
Ooh.
And one of them
They're
happens to
flying
have a
in
plane.
kids.
Some say that the spirits conjured by the cult crave the blood of innocents. Most disturbing about the particular incident is that no published reports of it having occurred can be found anymore. I first discovered this crash on an old microfilm copy of the Whittier Daily News.
Shit.
So, stuff's gone.
So this was somebody who just did some sleuthing and found this article on this.
Yeah,
crash?
old microfilm in a library, but now there's no current.
And then the connection to the cult. Oh, that's super creepy.
So you got to think. In my head, I instantly go to some dude in the California state government is in the cult and covered it up or something, or a local officer or news. Something happened.
This is that Epstein. This
This is that Epstein didn't kill himself, dog.
This is that oopsie whoops.
All right.
And back to it.
Up to the 60s. We'll jump further. The Cuban Missile Crisis is in full effect. A couple of teenagers are like, fuck it. The world's going to end. Let's just go party in the desert.
Those guys get it.
Yeah.
That's
so this is what I'm
sick.
getting we have government cover-ups. We have cults.
Yeah, we have cults.
have
Kids in the woods.
old ancient Native American haunted grounds. We have
you're getting the whole. It's the punch bowl at the party of Macabre.
with everything tossed.
Yeah, you're
in
just
there.
tossing everything you got.
So they're partying in the ruins. Oh wait, actually, I forgot to mention. Sorry, I forgot something in the 1930s that we forgot. It's just a little spice that is wow, every macabre thing happened here.
Yeah, we're covering every base. Okay, go.
An insane asylum was established in the Turnbull Canyon,
A broke down circus insane asylum.
filled with the Wichita vampire Indians, and the Wolf Boy escaped from the insane asylum. No, they set it up there because they were it's away from society and it's a good place for people to recover in an insane asylum.
They royally messed up.
It flourished in the 1930s, but would abruptly close in the early 1940s after a fire burned the whole thing to the ground.
Classic.
So the reason I thought of this is because if we go back 1962, sorry about that little jumble up chronologically, but the teenagers are partying in the ruins.
Oh, in the ruins of the insane asylum.
Yes.
Oh.
While drinking and partying, one of these teenagers found an electroshock device. Because that was super cool back then.
That is still pretty cool. Go to my eBay page. I have found many.
Believing the place to be long void of life and power, they started fucking with it. And one of them was killed instantly when it pumped several thousand volts of electricity through his head.
Honestly, I don't feel bad for the kid because you're playing with a thing called an electroshock device. Is that?
That's true, but if something burned down 30 years before, wouldn't you be there's no electricity here?
I guess. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. I take it back.
So it gets
don't cancel me.
Please. We just started. All right, so 70s and 80s, Turnbull Canyon takes another little break. It's it's got to we'll hang out.
It's got to recharge.
The 1990s. There's a story of a man named Jay who refused to give his full name.
Okay.
He told of an experience that happened to him 5 or 6 years before then, so roughly 1994 and 1993. Apparently it's not specific. He got a phone call. His phone rang and his father answered. On the other end of the phone was an old man who said he lived in a house in Turnbull Canyon. He needed some work done, like cleaning his property. Jay at first thought it was weird because their family's phone number was unlisted, and they had never met the man on the phone before. Yet he went with his father to Turnbull Canyon, and they walked the fire roads per the instructions given by the old man instead of the main roads.
Nope. I'm out.
They followed a roughly cut trail to a small shack. An old man walked from the shack to greet them and began showing them his property. Jay said that the old man looked like he was easily 80 years old, so he's an old dude.
So old timer.
But he moved through the hilly terrain with such agility that both he and his father were winded and had trouble keeping up. So this old dude's like Yoda, like flipping around over rocks.
Yep.
As they hiked around, the old man stopped them at various shacks and he referred to as his safe houses, and he constantly asked them both to join him in prayer.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I would have been, after the first one, I'd been
creepy.
like, hey, can you stop doing that, please? We're already in a weird part of the woods. I don't need to stop for prayer.
Jay also said that all the shacks looked the same inside. A small bed, a small pot-bellied stove, and the same old faded sepia-tone picture on the wall.
What?
So multiple shacks with this one
All the
picture.
same thing?
All the same, like, old-ass picture.
Jesus.
Jay described the picture. He had no idea who it was. He said it looks like the old man is younger. It literally looks like a spitting image of this guy, but just, like, way younger, like, back in black and white pictures.
Yep.
And he's standing next to another guy who's a little bit shorter and has darker skin. We actually, I have the picture, so we'll put that up on the website.
Notes.
On
Hit
the
those
episode
notes.
notes page. Jay said the picture was in the old man's shack, and that seeing it again, he knew that the picture was definitely the old dude when he was younger. He's like,
Right.
yo, like, you're 80 right now, but that's you.
But, like, that's you, though.
That's you. He got agitated and wondered, like, where did the interviewer get the picture? How did you possibly... The interviewer was like, is this them? Jay's like, yeah, that's them. That's the old guy. And he's like, how the fuck do you have that? It was only in this dude's shacks in Turnbull Canyon. And the interviewer says, that's a picture of William Workman.
Ooh, the dude.
He killed himself in 1872.
Damn.
Supposedly.
That's spooky.
After the interviewer told Jay this, Jay refused to ever speak to the interviewer again.
Wow. That's, I mean, good for Jay. I would also be like, yeah, my life is over.
I'd be like, none of this is, I'm not, no.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, well,
if I dig deeper into this, I die.
Yeah, that's game over.
Yeah.
Mentally.
So now we're going to 2002.
2002.
The new millennium. A real tragedy occurs on the road in October of 2002. A 17-year-old girl is killed and later dragged behind a car for 5 miles in Turnbull Canyon. Also, in the same year, a CHP motorcycle officer was killed by a drunk who was road racing in Turnbull Canyon. So a lot of people use the canyon for drifting and stuff.
Yeah, they want to be DK, Drift King.
And
I've seen Need for Speed.
So the cop went and he died after one of them just like completely hit him. Jump to 2007 and there's a murder. A body is found near Turnbull Canyon, January 24th of 2007. It's the body of one Amber Lee Hill who had been missing from Stanton, California. She was last seen at a Coca-Cola bottling plant in Downey, California on January 9th, 2007, where she worked. Authorities reported on January 15th, 2007 that her wallet and some personal documents were found near a hiking trail in Whittier off of Colima Road by a hiker. On January 23rd, 2007, they found her car in La Palma. Police noted that blood was found in her trunk. Her body was then discovered only 9 days later within only 25 yards from where her personal items had been discovered off of Colima Road. Authorities are investigating whether Hill's role as a witness in a sexual harassment complaint at the Coca-Cola bottling plant played any part in her disappearance. So, like, that's crazy to me that, like, this unrelated situation at a Coca-Cola bottling plant
still
they
ends
would
up
choose to bring her to there and kill her.
Still ends up in Turnbull Canyon. And at this point, I'd have to assume that people are like, yo, we know that this place is bad. Everyone stay out. Like, by 2007, they would have gotten the memo.
Yeah, and she was also badly decomposed and in plastic. So it's the fact that she's in plastic's like, did a professional do this? Like, why is she in plastic?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't, if you killed someone and wanted to get rid of them, wouldn't you let them decompose?
Dude, she had the secret formula to Coke. It's obvious. What do you mean?
We're on to you, Coca-Cola.
Listen, listeners, if something happens to us, drink Pepsi.
Yeah, so On the backpackerverse.com, someone actually interviewed someone who lives near there, and they said, I've heard it all. And some of it's true. The exact quote is, I live near Turnbull Canyon, and yes, I've heard about all of this. It is one hell of a scary-ass place to be in if you're by yourself and you aren't familiar with it. I remember seeing people walking around with hoods on, but I'm not sure who they were. For sure, though, he says, or she, I know that there are many devil worshippers / cults in the area.
Dude, I like the cult thought of this is just a place where cults have been doing, black magic, occultism stuff throughout the ages, and it's like been a continuing trend.
Also, they found some rapist / killer hiding there. Like, cops have found multiple rapists and killers hiding there.
Yep. It
just attracts the horrible.
Yeah. If you're a garbage person.
If you're a horrible, dirty garbage person.
Turnbull Canyon.
Oh, wait, no. That quote is actually from drifting.com. So even the drifters know.
Even the drifters know, dude.
Imagine, like, looking to just rip your e-brake at some place, but you're like, nah, dude, there's fucking
Bro, you can't
cultists.
rip an e-brake there, bro.
You can't rip a e-brake with cultists just staring at you. So yeah, that is the legend of Turnbull Canyon. I'll have to stay a little more, like, up to date, because there's nothing from, like, 2010 on, or unless it just, like, it blew up.
Yeah, I think this is because once Zuckerberg...
It's actually just an Amazon plant is there now, distribution site.
And that's where all of the occultism started. They summoned Mark Zuckerberg, and in 2007, Facebook became huge. I'm telling you, I see through the facade, man.
The facade is thin.
Thinly veiled. Zuckerberg, I'm on to you.
Yeah. So that's the Legend of Turnbull Canyon. It had a little bit of everything. It had the cults, it had the ghosts and spirits, it had witches, it had murderers.
Murder, suicide, ghosts, drifting. It's got every scary thing you can think of.
Who do you think the Drift King of... what if, like, the cult leader's the Drift King of Turnbull Canyon?
That would be sick. And honestly, he would, by law, be allowed to commit any act he wants.
He's like, yeah, we're a cult.
Yeah, we're a cult of speed,
cult for
bro.
Street racing. Vin Diesel's.
Yeah, Vin Diesel's the second in command. So
who was the star of... Vin Diesel wasn't in Tokyo Drift.
Oh, Tokyo Drift, no. Well, it still had... our listeners are going to love this
No, it's good. It's good. Leave it in. Logan Paul? Nope.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, everybody. He was in Tokyo Drift. Who knows? What if he, like, trained for that movie at Turnbull Canyon?
What the fuck?
Okay, so if you're a listener, something just started banging on the ceiling right now. Like in the bed. Dude, I don't fuck with this, dude.
I honestly think that was loud enough to be picked up, and I really hope it was.
I hope it was. It's like right above me.
Wait, you actually see something? Or you mean the
I can't tell if I see something. I don't know.
There's like a grate right above where we are, and it just started banging. Holy shit. Oh, man. Wow, that's a great way to...
That's a horrible way. I do not feel safe driving home now.
That is full circle. Oh, my God. Okay.
Turnbull Canyon.
Turnbull Canyon. We're sorry, Turnbull Canyon. We didn't mean to bring up your... We got too close. We figured it out.
So I do want to plug for sources for this. Weird California. It's a great book. It has just a lot of legends and stuff on local stuff in California. He does a lot. He's a website. Oh, I want to try and get the name here. Actually, the name's not on here. What the hell? I don't know what your name is, whoever does Weird California, but I like you. And he has a book and a website. He does...
Wait, if he has a book,
I've also seen...
author name be?
That's what I thought. Yep. It's by Greg Bishop and Joe Osterle and Mike Marinacci. 3 people on Weird California, your travel guide to California's local legends and best kept secrets. And you might notice the Weird California, like the logo for Weird, he actually does multiple ones. There's also like, or they do.
Oh,
there's like
weird...
a Weird Massachusetts. There's like a weird like
Weird
Illinois,
Denny's.
like weird like Florida, whatever. Like, so it's a great source, whatever your state is. Hopefully they've written a book about it and you can go check it out if you're interested. If you're international, I'm sorry, I don't think they do that. Can we talk about... This is the first week we've really kind of looked at a response
Yeah, this has
podcast?
It's been 3 weeks since we launched, because we launched on Halloween, and we were recording on the 21st of November, and we're very excited about. We're getting some listeners.
It's better than I ever could have imagined. Like, we're getting people from all over the world.
Yeah.
We're getting followers on social media, visits to the website. It's incredible.
Thank you guys a lot. Thanks everyone for following and listening and telling your friends. And if you leave reviews, we really appreciate it. It's very exciting times in the Macabre Monday world.
It is. And like every subscription, rating, 5-star, whatever review helps a ton. Will keep us going. Season 1's already, in my mind, been a huge success.
Big
and
success.
We're not even close to done.
But yeah, thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Check out, if you haven't, we're on Instagram at Monday Morning Macabre, Facebook, Monday Morning Macabre, Twitter, Macabre Pod. It's linked in the Instagram, so if you need to find it there.
And since we do have a lot of international listeners, email us, sam@mondaymorningmacabre.com, or
DM
us, reach out to us on social media. If you have local legends you'd like us to talk about or anything, we know like all over the world there's stuff like that. We've already had some suggestions on our Twitter feed that we're definitely going to look into. And we'll give shout outs to people who, when we do the actual episode, we'll give shout outs to whoever gave us that suggestion.
Yeah, definitely. And we really appreciate it. And have a good Monday.
A good Monday.
Bye. Bye.